was that Tuesday evening? Is that correct?
Yes,
Or last Thursday evening, I can't remember. But anyway, I appreciate him being there with me. Discussions were the renovation of the courthouse going on now and the child support office that we're fixing to put bids out on. So thank you, Mr. Coomer, for attending that meeting with me. We did get word on our grant that we thought we had lost for the park, for the drainage. So we are going to get that grant. So let's see. I will have to sign that, so I'll need authorizations. Okay. Okay, we're good then. Just want to make you all aware of that. Also, the 2022 litter abatement grant, we do have to take action on that because that is a contract. So I will entertain a motion to move on that. Motion. Master Bott, second Master Coomer. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed. Okay, we also have the payment. We need authorization for payment on the South Cooper Industrial Revenue Bonds. We have bills that we need to pay. Those should be in the claims, Jenny. Is that correct?
they are.
Okay. Okay. So that will come out of our $5 million bond that we done for economic development. So I will need authorization to move forward and pay those.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Coomer, second Master Houchins, questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. So also in my report, I want to go ahead and something we talked about in committee yesterday, and that was about Krista Steenbergen, contracting with her for this ARPA money. Now, she's not a county employee, so that does not give us any leadway to go into closed session to speak about this. So it's my recommendation that we move forward and contract with her at a salary of $48,000 annually, which can be paid out of the ARPA money. And we will review that a year from now. We have a second. Any questions?
So since this is contract labor, be no benefits. Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mark Dickerson?
Yes.
Mark Coomer?
Yes.
Mark Sargent?
Yes.
Mark Houchins?
Yes.
Mark Bott?
Yes.
Judge Taylor?
Yes, thank you very much. The county clerk, the reports year to date, third quarter, and year to date, excess fees subject to audit. I need a motion.
I make a motion.
Mr. Couchins.
Second.
Mr. Coomer, questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. The sheriff, the quarterly financial report ending September 30th.
So move.
Mr. Houchins, second Master Sarton, questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. The quietus 2020 taxes.
Make that motion.
We have a motion. Second Master Bott's questions? I always wonder if you guys want me to tell you the definition of quietus, but I'm glad you don't ask.
It's dead.
It's basically so he can clean out his taxes and start all over. Because it took me a while just to be able to pronounce that. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. Official receipt for the 2021 taxes. Motion. Master Botts. Second Master Dickerson, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. Thank you very much. So we're going to go to committee meetings and we're going to juggle this a little bit. If you look at the administrative and budget and building and property, obviously they had a joint meeting. Today, we're going to pass on the administrative code changes of COVID pay policy and credit card use policy. That's something I believe the county attorney had to do some work on that. She is working on that currently, but we're going to pass on that for now. So what I would like to do is to go down here to the bottom of where it says building and property, where we open the bids on the demolition of the old jail, move it up here to the top, so this young man can get going, and just start out with that. And then also, I'd like to go to item number 3, the interlocal agreement for the 911. That way the mayor can shoot out of here as well. So, Master Coomer, if you want to take over with, the bids.
Okay, we received we have Jeremiah, I'm sorry, I missed your last name again, but all right, from RBS Design Group, to help us make sure that everything was clear on the bids. First bid was from Scott and Ritter of Bowling Green, Kentucky, for $98,411.25. Second bid, TA Gaddis Services out of Owensboro, $144,540. And the last bid was Innovative Demolition out of Lexington, Kentucky, with a bid of $92,135. Seeing that Jeremiah's looked over these, and I think there still needs to be some talk with Katie Ford. Is that my understanding? But make the motion, we accept the low bid with Innovative Demolition for $92,135.
Okay, we have a motion. Second. We have a second, Master Box. Any questions on this? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Squire Dickerson,
Yes.
Squire Taylor.
Yes.
Squire Sargent.
Yes.
Squire Houston.
Yes.
Squire Bott.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, from now, we will go on Magistrate Bots. We can talk about the interlocal agreement.
Okay, we had our meeting yesterday, administrative, and we talked about this. We were trying to get just a little bit more information to help us decide, as we did this last year. They asked for the extra, and I asked Jenny to see if this, and Krista would be part of this, if some of this funding that we're going to be getting, can that be applied to that? We don't really have an answer on that yet, because it all get pretty quickly. They're trying, we just now hired Krista. So what we're going to do is ask Krista to investigate, and if some of that money can be applied. The chairman of the administrative, Billy, was there yesterday. We would think if that was going to be able to be used, we would think we would present it to the court. Right now, I don't know that we would need to present that to the court till we can find that out. And I think if we found that out, I think the court would be more at ease, since that wasn't really part of our budget starting this year. Judge, you can comment if you have any other, what I'm, asking, if we can maybe know by the next meeting, if that's not too late.
Yes, well, and with the mayor here, he can actually correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what they're asking for agreement is to fund this annually. Is that correct? Yeah. So
Any more raises, just hit it back towards that now, so they continue, you don't have to farm out 911.
Gotcha. So, and of course, this interlocal agreement has for the fiscal year 21-22 is what the date says on this. So, but again, obviously you guys would have to authorize me to sign it if that's what you wanted to move forward on. So just wanted to let you know exactly what this said and what they're actually asking for. Absolutely, Mayor, if you want to go up and talk to this microphone here.
Everyone down at 911 center gets $2 raise. Everyone works down there.
Between calls, donations already given, they've seen had $38,000 some on and above the donation given. What that does is that brings them back up to what they were 6 years ago. They have been docked.
Everybody down there got $2.
Yes.
Why were they docked? And
They hired one reason, they hired director down there that paid about $16,000 a year more than what the previous one had. And at that time, to make the budget, they hollered at that thing. And before that, because of a cut in the budget, what it amounted to for the last 3 or 4 years, they have been competing with Walmart and other people to try to get people to go to work. Plus the ones that's already working there have got to the point where their scale didn't work out to the 10-year plan. They've been there for 9 years, supposed to be making $17.40, and they were only making $15.40. So we were on the verge of having to figure out who we was going to farm out the 911 center or how to make it better. And basically, they said if we could just get our money that we adopt back, we would, I think we could keep people working down here. So that's what we've been working for the last year and a half, trying to figure out how we can do that.
Well, I'll have to admit, I didn't realize that there'd been a dock and pay previously.
I didn't until about a year and a half, or a year and 3/4. And I took their budget and looked. I think it was accumulation of things they got over. When everybody else got a $1 raise, I guess it's been about 7 years ago, for some reason, they didn't get the raise. So they considered that document. Because according to their pay scale that was set up, when we reworked them 2 years ago, there was about a $2 difference where we were at. And of course, when Chris Freeman left and went to Marshall County, it was chaos and nobody knew. They all thought they would get the raise. There hadn't been anything put in for them. And it wasn't in the budget the first 6 months when I took over. So we gave them, along with everybody else, a $1 raise at that point, but that was still lagging behind.
So with this interlocal agreement, we're agreeing to give them $50,000 every year from now forward.
Well, it just says for the 21-22.
This one's for this year only, which you've already given. But we would like to renew it every year because we hate to take the $2 back away from them because, we could have made it forever. But we just thought, since you already given the money, we do it this year and then we'll come back next year and make sure that that's the portion. She brought y'all the scale, I think, didn't she, Judge? About how many calls in the county. And how many.
Yeah, she showed that to us.
Broke that down on a percentage basis. I think the county would be paying something like $235 of their salaries, and the city would be paying about a third less than what we're paying now. But Cave City, their 20,000 is about 50 cents, 48 cents of that $2. And in y'all's, it runs up to about almost $1.50. So what that means is that we cover the retirement and everything else on top of that $2. And that figured out this year, we're gonna have to put an extra 38,000 something.
So, guys, the reason yesterday's meeting, you all know me, I'm pretty vocal about, I don't have a problem with it. The reason that we didn't go on and go on and try to present that to you all today is I want you all comfortable. If we know that if Krista and them can see that happens, I think that can encourage you all to be on the same board that I would be on. I would be for it, but I want to make sure, in fairness to you all, I'm representing the whole board, and that I think you all be more at ease if we can apply some of that money, and then we can get together in budget time and see if we can continue doing that. It all hit us as the budget committee after the fact, after we had planned this budget. That's the only thing that we're, so in fairness of all the departments, and we're having to come up with that 50. We did come up with that 50. So where are we going to come up with that 50 again? And so if Krista can find that out, I think we can be confident that it could probably get passed. But I would like to know that before our committee would present that to the full court. That's just.
Is any of this based on percentage of 911 calls, like what percent you get from the city and what percent you get from the county?
It was on that when it showed about 200,000 county but we only asked for 50. All we wanted was cover the wages. We're already paying the, 99% of the payroll. But we just wanted to, we wanted to give them that raise back. We thought it would be a fair thing for the county and for Cave City to cover that $2. And basically, instead of saying, hey, if we shut this place down, it's gonna cost y'all $250 a year, it's gonna cost the city $200 a year, it's gonna cost Cave City, I don't know, go there. We've got millions of dollars worth of equipment in there. This is only a percentage of what, if it was prorated out, the number of calls to the county, this is a small percentage. It's less than, I think it's less than 24% of what the percentages would be if it was broken down.
I think something we need to look at here in item number 5, it says this agreement is a continuing agreement contribution for each fiscal year as long as this agreement is in effect. So, yeah.
Is there a possibility that, with, I know the city's getting this money too, this COVID money, that someday y'all would have enough to cover? I mean, there's a possibility, I guess.
We give them about every year, 50 cents, whatever we do everybody else.
Just to, is
We're
it,
looking at, we're making the payroll over there now. I'll have to check to make sure, I think retirement and everything, it's about, I think it's about $580,000. So it would go to, ours would go to $37,000 more. Got that $2 raise. Retirement, so much more in overtime, and that was figured at $37,000. So we're going to go from spending whatever we are paying now to another $37,000. And I mean, unless we can come up with a way to put so much, I don't want to do it on the tax, so much on the water bill, and that go to, county gets so much in, and they take that part to pay in. We get so much to the city. We need to come up with some way to fund it other than the city's out of the city's budget. And right now, it used to be years ago, the dollar on the telephone bill.
that's what I was,
Now they're trying to switch it to cell phone, and the city is just out the same amount every year except adding it up. It's just getting bigger and bigger. 10 years from now, we'll be probably paying $1 million. So I don't know, unless we can come up with some funds in a taxing basis or something, it's going to be hard for the city to keep bumping it up every year, but I'm not going to say that won't happen because it's very important to keep that center open. It's a matter of economics for us because if we were to have to farm it out, it would cost us a heck of a lot more, and then we wouldn't get the service. So,
What about Metcalfe County? What about Metcalfe County?
we haven't taxed them anything. They have a their ambulance service, I think, funds part of the, you can ask the mayor, but I think the ambulance service funds like 2 people in there, don't they? Judge,
That's correct.
or Metcalfe County.
No matter how you and I, most everybody in here has been here all their lives. It's always city, county, city, county, city, county. Somewhere in the future, I would like to see Fiscal, Barren County, all, like, I'll give you this, the jail, we're talking about city calls, county calls, jail, county, 100% of the jail. I just almost bet you have this privilege for city, but nobody, we don't talk about that. It'd be nice to get all this funded, have some kind of deal where we could get together and say, look, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, let's all work together and make it happen as one group, one entity instead of like schools, for instance. So it's Fiscal, Barren County, Fiscal, Barren County. Nice to have it all one entity.
I think
Or we can work it all out.
We've got a good start, Barren County Economic Development.
Well, I think so too.
That's starting to merge. That's the beginning of it.
Yeah, but it needs to we need to take it on to other things. We pick up, just like the land bill. I don't know if we pay to get our trash to county. It'd be nice landfill for city and county votes, that county residents having to pay more than city residents, and I know they have. So it'd be nice if we can all work all these things together, and have some folks get together and have some ideas, make it one entity. On the spending part, keep the government separated, but there's ways that can be worked out. Just to get some people with some foresight to take care of that.
I just don't think I'll be alive.
Well, I probably won't be here, but
Everybody else.
it's nice to think about it.
It's something to start working.
Okay, Judge, what do we need to do?
Well, I just want you to, I mean, if you all pass this, like I say, it obligates you each year. So, obviously you probably be able to use ARPA funds for another year, but when that runs dry, at some point, you're gonna have to work it within the budget to make it happen. So,
So can it be person, either entity?
I think once you've committed, you've committed. Hold on a minute. It's automatically renewed. Yeah, we can get out of it. Yeah, we can. The last sentence there says we can get out of it.
How long will it take our ladies here to find out? It's fun.
I can do the research, probably at least next week.
I think we put this out, just like we put this off until we find out.
Go action on that, table it.
No action, just table it for the next meeting.
Because we've already given 50,000.
Yes, we've already given them a 50,000 now. So to take care of the raises now, this is to sustain, correct? Yeah.
We're going to. They're gonna come in effect first of next month.
Okay.
That's when you start. We're gonna have to amend our budget to make up the difference. $7,000 or $8,000. Difference.
Well, don't give up on us, okay? We're gonna have a meeting because I mean, just like you, we're gonna have to pull it out too, because we already created our budget too. And we're definitely, as a committee, we're wanting to get this presented to the court, but I don't think today we've got enough. And some people's not here in fairness, Grant, and so I think we need, like you said, Carl.
I make most we table.
Can we have a motion to table?
Second,
Got a second. Any other questions? Hear none, roll call vote.
Spark Hammer,
Yes.
Spark Sarton.
yes.
Spark Hutchins.
Yes.
Spark Hot,
Yes.
Spark Dickerson.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Go on down my report then.
Yes, but just remember that we're gonna pass on the COVID policy
Hey. on
and
number
then
two.
credit card usage policy.
Okay.
Judge,
Yes, sir. Thank you for
Thank you,
coming, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Comes in Judge and Mayor.
So basically, line item one on this committee is basically down here in our budget committee that we had yesterday. We re-talked about the line item on the American Rescue Plan. We can go ahead and start talking about that. Jenny was in our meeting yesterday and she presented us, and I think Krista helped you with this pie that we've got in front of us, showing a little bit about, we've got to start somewhere, and I don't want to do a lot of talking because I didn't create this. So Jenny, you want to just present to the court that wasn't here yesterday what we're going to try to look at doing with some of the money.
So the pie chart that we have created is our goal. The percentages that are on this chart will vary up or down, not sure which way. What we would like to do is, like he said, we need to start somewhere. And so presenting you guys with this distribution goals does not mean there's anything in concrete. It just means that we need a direction of where to go. For example, on the youth, we've broken it down so far into 2 categories. There can be more categories in there. That's just the 2 things that we have talked about. You guys may have ideas on some things that you want to see this money used for. We welcome those ideas. Just keep in mind that within those ideas, we have to follow these guidelines that we have, that the federal government has given us. So it's not that we're presenting this to you saying this is what we're going to do. That's not it at all. We're saying, hey, give us a chance to start somewhere. We can't go forward until we have something approved. We may go to the water fire hydrants, for example, and it may not take that whole 24%. So we can move some of that percentage to another location, or we can insert another piece of the pie. You know, we can do whatever you guys want to do within the guidelines. Now, understand that in doing this, we do intend to have monthly updates for you guys on everything that we're doing. Anything that we do has to be approved by you, no matter what. So basically today, we're asking for you to give us the chance to start going in this general direction. Like I said, nothing is in concrete. The percentages can be moved around. What we do know, the admin portion of this pie, that would be Krista's salary and computer for her, things like that. We'll probably stay within that 1%, won't go much over under that. The lost revenue is going to vary. We have a formula, and I'll let Krista talk more about that. She's going to be working on that. So I'm not sure on those numbers. The
I'm working with the Brad office. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm working with the Brad office on the lost revenue formula. The federal government has a formula that we use, and it is revenue from a certain amount of time times a number that they've come up with, and I don't know, but I do know the Brad office has experience with that, and I don't want to put anything on paper until I talk to them and make sure we're doing the formula right and using the right numbers. But that is something that the federal government and other counties that is money that you can use a little. It goes into your budget because there are things that you need, like this emergency services thing throughout the year. So that's something that you haven't budgeted for, and it's a formula that the federal government put out there. So that is something that has no wiggle room. Sounds like there's going to be a piece of pie maybe for emergency services. I don't know that we can use that for pay. I know we can use it for building projects, but there again, I'll have to do some research to make sure how that works and all that good stuff. Because you're bringing them up to what they made before or some kind of benchmark, that might be allowed. I'm just not sure. So none of that is set in stone.
And how we came with some of these topics here is we just had a conversation, and
Oh yeah.
and of course now Krista and I, we did meet with the healthcare facilities to figure out what that need is, and you know,
Special needs population.
Yes.
We've had meetings with people around the county.
absolutely,
Groups.
and obviously we've been talking about with our numbers being astronomical at our ballpark, that COVID has drove a lot of folks there. We need to expand that. I mean, we're busting at the seams, which is a great problem. But if you look at the water fire hydrants there, that's something that I had a conversations with the fire chiefs and the fire districts. What that does, that gives them the opportunity to locate hydrants in areas of the county where they don't have to shuttle water. And it's easier on their operation. Now, obviously, they would have to tap into a 6-inch main for a hydrant, but we throw 24% up there. That will only be like 6% of that 24. Okay, just for fire hydrants. So, but what I had asked them to do to give us 3 locations per fire district. I told them we would try to look at doing maybe 2, because I think really around the Temple Hill area, there's not a lot of 6-inch mains. There are a lot of 4-inch lines in there, so they're going to have a little harder time to come up with those areas unless they go on state roads. But that's just kind of the example. And listen, we'll go ahead and talk about it because I know there's been a lot of conversation, but the premium pay is something that we can give our employees currently, the ones that worked during the pandemic, and there's dates like January 27th of 2020 to what's the other current?
We cut it off on the, we did a cutoff on the
September
payroll of
3rd.
September 3rd.
Yeah.
Because there has to be a cutoff in order to process it, so that's what we did.
And so in conversations with, I know other counties, that's the first thing they've done was to help their employees, premium pay. I know that was one thing that the governor said he was going to do with state workers is premium payment to the employees. As county government entities, you can't give bonuses to employees. It's illegal. What this does is gives us the opportunity to tell your employees, hey, thank you. Thank you for coming to work. Thank you for sticking with us. And what a morale booster that would be, not only now, but you think about what you're doing for their futures on their retirement. You're helping them through life as well. And I'm all for it. I think it's a good thing. It's basically just a way of saying thank you for what you do for the county. And we're always trying to figure out a way to do that, to help them. And that just helps families, and it puts more money in the community. Now, one of the magistrates earlier said, well, what about elected officials? Well, they're going to check into that. You know, hey, elected officials work through this, you know, I don't know. So if the regs say yes, fine. If they say no, it's just, it is what it is. But 18%, we know it'll be 18% on the premium pay. That's exact. That's anywhere from 1.5 to 1.6. That's where that premium pay comes in at for currently the employees that works now, not the ones that left, not the ones that left, the ones that are current and work through COVID. So that's what that looks like.
Now that includes taxes, retirement, everything. That's everything. And all those funds can come out of the ARPA money. So nothing is on the county budget at all. It comes strictly everything from the ARPA money.
And I know that a big issue right now with the workforce everywhere is loyalty. It is retention and recruitment. And I don't know why that is, but it feels like that's an issue everywhere. And this is a way to reward your employees across the county who have been loyal to the county to keep them here so that we don't have the turnover that a lot of agencies do. So and that is recommended by the federal government because of the essential employees who had to be on the road in the building when other people could do their job at home. So.
Okay, yesterday we had our committee meeting and break it on down. We talked about, and we're looking at, you presented, it's going around about $5 an hour. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So we'll get down to the nutshell because I think all the masters see the pie. The only thing that maybe would be any kind of concern would be this 18%. So bottom line, they give us a figure yesterday in our committee. It'd be about $5 an hour is what this 18% rounds about. Jenny had that figure, so what we're gotta present, they have to kind of give some kind of presentation to whoever you have to, so. So that's gonna be about $5. They go back to the ones that took time off because they had COVID, they won't get any money during that time. Ones that done 100%, they'll get 100% of the $5. People that don't understand then, so that check can be various because of, time, So court, we could talk on this forever and we could have a lot more meetings, but the bottom line is they've got to present something. Our committee was fine with that 18% with about $5 going back and giving them $5 an hour. Make a motion that this pie chart, that premium, that we can let them proceed, but that's what it's gonna be. It won't be any more than $5, maybe, I don't
And I
know.
should
We've
have
got to come
said-
up with something to
Yeah.
start.
I should have said that is a conservative figure because the federal government will allow you to give premium pay up to $13 an hour. So we went with a lower number,
So,
something that was actually worthwhile for your employees. So they're,
so that's
Your motion?
That's my motion.
I second that motion.
Motion for this pie, the 18%, certainly that's what it's gonna look like. Somewhere around $5. And I'm sure you'll have to get more details into that,
absolutely.
but we've got to start somewhere. So my motion is this pie chart, proceed.
All right, second, and ready for discussion. Go ahead.
My question is, we can change this. If we wanted to go 25% on the premium pay, we could. If we wanted to go to 40% on you, we could change any of these figures. We're
Yes.
voting on the pie today. And y'all are gonna give us information,
Yes,
tell us how this is all gonna work, what all we can spend this money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
When will we have this?
Next week. or
Okay,
the
so
week
our
after.
next meeting we'll have.
yes,
So we can decide how much we wanna do.
Now
If
you'll
we
have
wanna
some
do $6
information.
an hour, if we wanna do $4 an hour, 3, 7, we can change this 18%. Is that right?
That's not the motion.
No, that's not the motion. I think the motion is to stick
Just
with,
do the pie.
do the pie. Yeah, yeah.
Any of the
But
figures.
it can flow.
yeah.
Roll call.
we,
Okay,
No, we got
Hold on.
discussion. Hold on, Jim.
we have a report that is due to the federal government at the end of this month. They require us to have some sort of designation on some of this money. Our first report that was due was in August. We didn't have to have any designation. This time we have to have a designation. That's why we're asking for this go around for the premium pay to be our designation, because we can put a number on that right now. On everything else or projects, we can't put a number on right now. It does not have to be to the penny. It just needs to be a projection of what we plan to use for that. We have to have that. That's not our choice. We have to have it.
Still check.
The administration is that, right? I mean, the administration, you've got that.
We do have
So
that.
that's all you have to have by the end of the month.
No,
I thought it just one designated.
it doesn't say one. Does it say one?
No,
No, it doesn't.
just a plan.
Yeah,
A plan.
It asks for
This is
some,
our plan.
yes, it asks for some projected projects, some projected things, and it also asks for some already spent.
But you can change any of this.
yes.
Except what we voted on.
But that's.
Yes,
We've already voted on that. Anything we do, it's gotta be voted on.
absolutely, yes.
The motion was to move forward with this pie. As it reads, but now you can
But
can
the
tweak.
motion says we're giving 18% premium pay. If this passes, that goes through.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say right now, I will be a no, because I voted on something with no more, was that MOU on the courthouse, and I was sorry for it because I didn't research it. And it's not I'm not saying that I'm against this, but I will be a no vote because I need more time.
We can change any of the, even though we designate 18%, we can change that figure. That's not correct. We do not have to vote. We decide down the road, we don't want to vote for 18%. We want to vote for 10%. We can still do that even though we can't do that.
You're voting for the premium pay to be 18%, but the rest of it is fluid.
You make different pay for different people.
No, we're keeping it,
So
the same across the board.
I asked that.
Fairness is what we're after.
I'd like to hear from elected officials on this. You guys want to chime in here? As long as the microphone's working.
Working,
Is the red button down?
red button is.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, do it again.
Yeah, other way. There we go.
There you
There we go. I think that, the Kentucky County Clerk of Kentucky have already designated this money to their employees. And I think one point that we need to not forget is you will never regret investing into your employees. These individuals, in my office specifically, worked in conditions that we had no idea what the next day was going to look like. We changed everything in 2020 to make sure to continue bringing in money for this county. And those ladies, now we had a few that decided they couldn't do it and they took a leave and they came back. But we worked through COVID. We worked, 1 minute we're holding people in the foyer of the building, next minute we're working out of a window. As soon as we could, we opened back up to the public and we continued turning over funding, excess fees to Barren County. So not to mention, we worked through a federal election last year. These ladies stuck by me, and we can never forget the service they did to the people, just as the jailer. I'm not going to speak for you, but I will say, just like your employees, if they hadn't showed up to work at the jail because they were scared of COVID, my employees, like your employees, got COVID. I had over 7 out the 1st of August. Not only did they get COVID, their family members got COVID. I got COVID. We all had, but we kept pushing through. We kept working to make sure that this county kept running. So this is a small gift that we would never, ever, unless some unfortunate pandemic hits again, the federal government gives us more money, we're not going to be able to do this again. It's not anything off of us at this point. This is a one-time thing. It's a grant, a federal grant, and we're going to be able to give back to those people that gave so much to us over the last year, and you will never regret investing in your employees. Because I know, as I've heard some of you say, as we did request those raises last year, we have some people that work for us that they're invaluable. We can't put a number on them. So that's what I'm saying. You will never regret making this investment in your employees.
I agree with Elena. I agree with everything she said. Just recently, I had 18 of my employees, 32 out at once. And most of my guys are new staff. So I have a very young, inexperienced staff that I'm in the midst of training that they're all out. So it was hitting this, on a lot of floors, working a lot of late days for a few weeks. And this is right after I got over COVID myself. I had COVID, and my whole family had COVID. Come right back into work, and then all my employees are gone. And it's trying times, but the employees that we have, and we got some great county employees, and they've stuck through with us. And from the sheriff's office, clerk's office, the jail, to the executive's office, and there's just that perseverance, and then keep coming back when it could have been with anybody else and said, you know what, we'll see you later, guys. I'm gonna go on unemployment training. They stayed with us, and they're still here today. And I applaud my employees. I raise them up high because that jail, I know we say, there has to be 4 people in it by law at all times. It takes more than 4 people. And during those COVID times, there may have just been 4 people there. But let me tell you, they were working, 16-hour days to ensure things were being taken care of. So I stick with it.
And this may be what you need to invest in those folks to stay right there with you.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Corrections is it's a tough place. I've only been doing it less than, 3 years myself, corrections wise, but, you know, their turnover rate without COVID is 66%. Without COVID, you know, and us as a county jail, we're doing other jails. I mean, they're struggling bad. We're struggling, but I'll take my struggles over there any day. And my employees, though, going back to that, are our employees. They're all of our employees, you know. I hold them up, and I hope they get every penny that you all vote for, to be honest.
Just one quick, is this salary and hourly? Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
And, you know, on my part too, I know they said something about elected officials. I could care less if I get a penny. I don't want it. You know, I sought election. I didn't know anything about COVID, don't get me wrong, in 2018, when I was looking to be elected. But I want to be the Barren County jailer. I plan on continuing being Barren County jailer for as long as people let me do it. And that's what I mean. I don't want a penny. You know, all that money needs to go to my employees. I'm fine with what I get paid. I don't want a raise. I don't want anything like that. My guys deserve it. All of them.
I think if you make above 60,000, you're not eligible under this money, is what I was told.
I don't know.
There is a-
I hadn't
there is
seen
a
that.
salary
I have to look that up.
there.
Okay.
I have to look that up.
Sheriff, do you have something?
Yeah, I'd just like to add a little bit also, both Felina and Aaron made some great points. It's hard to follow those. But if I'm understanding the scope of this, ladies and gentlemen, the federal government has given the Barren County Fiscal Court the opportunity to assist employees in their county, not only now, but the rest of their lives. It's going to affect their retirement, it's going to affect their family, it's going to affect their spending. And just like the jailer said, and just like the clerk said, I'm just a face of one of the emergency services. We were going in houses, making calls, clearing picking people up, securing scenes, transporting people with COVID. So I really urge you to take this one and possibly once in a lifetime opportunity to recognize your employees with somebody else's money. Go ahead, Squire.
I'm gonna vote to do this, but I also would like to, as an elected official, I would like mine too. So if I make $20,000 a year, I would like mine too. The federal government sends money down here, we spend it like drunken sailors, hey, let's spend it all. Then when there's not any more available, I guess we'll all address that one time.
We'll worry about that later.
Yep.
But I think you'll
So
agree, Squire.
I'm the elected official for that, because everybody else is gonna get some, I want some too, just like, you know, and I'll do something for charity with mine, but I want something.
And we're gonna check into that too,
I will check
Yep.
into that.
for sure.
I think you'll agree, Squire, nationally, there's a whole lot of people that received some government money. also.
Yes, sir, sure did, I gave it a lot of my folks.
Again, I'm gonna call for the vote.
Okay. Vote's been called for. Roll call vote, please.
Squire Sarton,
Yes.
Squire Hutchins.
Yes.
Squire Bott,
Yes.
Squire
Yes.
Dickerson. Squire Cameron.
No.
Judge Hale.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, we're gonna go on down to the next item. Thank you all for that. We're gonna have a county clerk. We've been talking about the election voting machines. This has been going about at least a year and a half. And she's going to go on and present what we're gonna do. We're not gonna be able to make a motion or PO, but we have to put this in as a form of a bid. So just, if you wanna just.
I'm just asking to be able to advertise for bids on new election equipment. This is in the election budget. We budgeted for $170,000. The bid is actually, including the recycling of the current election equipment, $172,012. So it's $2,012 over. But I should be able to move some funds around in that budget to cover the $2,012. We do not have an election this year. You will, and I'm just going to throw this out there because some folks in the community may want to know, November 3rd is the first date that individuals can start filing to run for office in Barren County. Next year is a big election year. It's the county-wide election. We just finished the federal election. Our funding is, our current equipment is anywhere from 12 to 16 years old. We are looking, as a county board of elections, we did vote to go to voting centers instead of precincts. So that will save us a large amount of money because this request in half. So I'm just asking the court to be allowed to open up the bidding process. And the other thing I will say is the State Board of Elections met today, as they've been meeting every month, or sometimes more than once a month. There is going to be some funding. Carl, federal funds are coming in. I know, sorry. I know, they're just throwing it around. I know. Hey, we're hoping to bring it to Barren County. Anywhere from $2,100 to $5,000 per precinct. Even though we go to voting centers, it will still be per precinct. We have 25 voting precincts in Barren County, plus one for absentee, so that makes 26. So that up to 5,000 per precinct. We just don't know. There may be another special call meeting between now and November. So hopefully, once we complete the bidding process, maybe I can have some definite numbers to give you all. But with that being said, we have to purchase the equipment and then request a reimbursement of that funds through the State Board of Elections. Many counties across Kentucky are purchasing new equipment this year. This would make us 100% paper county. Currently, we are not 100% paper. So if we ever got in the event that we've had to have a recount, we have to call in our vendor, Harp Enterprise, who would come in and print data off of our handicap equipment. Those are called e-slate machines. Those actually do not produce a paper ballot if someone votes on those. The new equipment would make us 100% paper county, and that is so important today with reference to the integrity of the election and the ballot process for our voters. That handicap equipment, the new handicap equipment would actually, the voter would mark their ballot using the special marking device, and it would print that ballot off, and that voter can go and scan that ballot into the same scanner that other voters will be using in the process.
Any action on this? Do you put a motion out there?
Yeah, we got a
Okay.
motion to let her.
I'll second it.
Okay. We got a motion, second. Any other questions?
Now, did we ever look in to see if we could, about the old machines? I know we're gonna have to pay them to take the old ones if we don't find somewhere else to go.
Yes, that really, 2675, it was their bid to take the old equipment to be destroyed properly. And I feel that the safest process would be going with the vendor to make, they have done this for other counties and they felt very secure about that decision. No, I don't like that idea.
The only thing I don't like about this is a warranty. You said we had a 1-year warranty on this high-priced equipment.
That's what the vendor told us.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there is there another product out there that might be usable with a better warranty.
Well, you know, that's what the bidding process, whenever other vendors, I don't know. Harp Enterprise Incorporated is who we have used here in Barren County for many years. There's only one other vendor that I know of in Kentucky that does election equipment. There's been some discussion on whether or not they have their equipment with internet connectivity. I don't want to risk going with something we don't know anything about. I don't want to risk anything being connected to the internet that involves our ballots. But you know, they're welcome to bid, and that's what this whole process is about.
Or it may have been here too long.
All right, any other questions, discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Scar Sarton,
Yes.
Scar Houston.
Yes.
Scar Bott.
Yes.
Scar Dickerson.
Yes.
Scar Hammer.
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, our next line item is the sheriff's report on some items that he just brought before our committee about the taser replacements, to give us some figures on that, and some onboard computer tabs and record storage. And I think we talked yesterday, you're just doing information only and there's no action on any of these. Is that correct? Sure.
Squire, you're right. I wanted to start a few months early before the for the new year of 22, because one of the contracts I've got big contracts on taser replacements, and they're operating off the 21 figures. So as of 22, January price increase. So that's why I want to talk about it now, whether we want to deal with the price increase or we want to make some type of negotiation. And I've got kind of a layout here. I'm going to pass it around, start with Carl, I think you'll see it, and pass it down, and you'll see some figures here. You say, they presently, his question was that the tasers we currently have are obsolete. They currently manufacture them, Carl, but they're the oldest one device in the Axon or Taser company. And they have told me they're on the slate to cycle that one out. It's gonna go away. So therefore, that's why we're trying to get ahead of the game. They won't tell me, obviously, if it's gonna go out to the end of this year or they're gonna have it another year. That's one of the reasons we're trying to get a head start on this. To sum the figures up for you, it's a total 5-year package of $66,000, which is cartridges, tasers, batteries. They ship so many cartridges each year for training. It's the holster that goes on the bill. It's an all-inclusive service plan for 20 units. Each deputy would have one for 5 years. It's a 1-year payment, each year you pay a figure, I think, $13,252, or we can negotiate that to be in 2 payments per year. And again, I'm starting on the planning phase because as some of you have said before, hey, think ahead. Let's see what we need. Let's plan ahead. And that's why I'm presenting it now, in case in future meetings like November and December, we voted on something, and to get the 5% reduction in price compared to the 22 price. So that's why I'm starting now. So that's the information. If you have any more questions, be glad to answer them. And I can even put a presentation on because I have a master instructor we can do 1 November if you want to. They've made a lot of advancements in equipment, but obviously with the national media and the law enforcement issues across the country, Taser is a less lethal device. It is very forgiving both to the deputy or law enforcement officer and to the suspect that we're working with. Any questions about that? I got 2 other things to move along.
This amount, these bundle savings, that's if you buy that many, is that correct? Is there a savings if you pay for them all at once and not make the yearly payments?
Honestly, Squire, didn't ask that. I need to.
We have stumped the sheriff.
Well, I'm just like, usually there's a discount if you had it in your budget. I would recommend if there's a savings, just buy them all and be done with it.
I spent 3 days back and forth to negotiate this, and honestly, I didn't ask that question.
Tell them if they take 10,000 off, we'll just buy them all.
We'll do it right now.
Yes, sir, I will.
Somebody has been for that.
Yeah,
Squire, that's the 3rd recommendation he's got.
yeah.
There'll be more than that after a day, I'd say.
I'd be careful. I'd be careful.
So
That's all.
closing on that topic, you'll probably hear more from me on that in November, December.
Oh, you need to pass it on back.
I did.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, Sheriff, about the tasers? Okay, go ahead, Sheriff.
Let me show you the next item here. It is a tablet onboard computer. As you can see, it's a little beefed up, got a handle, got some, shielding armor on it, so to speak. This is a tablet or a laptop that we use this is the new version. We've been using a tablet in the car because, as you've heard me speak before, I'll be glad to pass this around. As you've heard me speak before, been a lot of changes in law enforcement all over the country. One of which in Kentucky was they're doing away with the paper uniform citation. Everything's going to electronic now. So we have to have printers in cars. We obviously got printers in offices, whatnot. But in the field, the deputy or police officer can do his accident reports, he can do his citations, he can even take pictures with it, he can do case information, he can do drawings. vice versa. It's just basically, he's taking the computer out in the field in the car with him. 2015, we started buying a tablet, a little smaller unit than that. It's done pretty good, but now 21 and 22 is approaching, they're aging out. They're starting to phase out, starting to have some trouble with them. So I got to looking for a replacement. A local vendor showed me this, the same vendor that we dealt with the Surface Pros. That unit right there is running about $1,900 a piece. I think my figures is we need 12 of them. So again, this is something to think about, consider. Obviously, we're updating the aging equipment that we have. This is a little better product. It's a little bit more convenient. It's a little tougher on every environment, things that have on it. So again, that's one of the things that I'm proposing for us to talk about, whether it be now or in the next meeting. But again, that's the unit we want to go to. Again, $1,900, local vendor. He does the service, all the plans, everything with it.
Any questions?
All alcohol money. We pay 100% alcohol money.
I don't know about 100%, but maybe on the tasers, but I'm not sure about the
We'll have to check into
computers.
that,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. We'll utilize as much as we can. And then on the record storage.
Yep, last and probably most important is record storage. You guys will retention records, record storage. However, Tim, if you've got a barn stall vacant, well, we can work on that. We can do it. Back to this all hinges around the demolition of the jail, because we have a room up there that is full of records by law, the Kentucky Records Retention Schedule. And y'all have some free time in your day, you can look at that, because everything has a different breakdown. Citations, rec reports, tax cards, evidence, crime scenes, everything has a breakdown of different time scale. So with the agreement, I believe that you are proceeding on to get this jail torn down, and correct me, Mr. Coomer, once this is signed, it's 90 days, is that right?
Correct.
So I did a little recon here in the community about how much a climate controlled storage facility would cost me. A 10 by 20 foot storage facility is going to be $250 a month. So Carl, if you'll correct me on my math, that's about $3,000 a year.
That'd be right.
For a 10 by 20 room. I'm not sure I can get my stuff in a 20 by 20 room, much less a 10 by 20. And part of the action I'm fixing to take is contact Library and Archives, who is the parent company of Peoples and state government, to see those records so they can send records go through us, and we can destroy what we don't need. That's part of the records retention schedule. You can do away with what's no longer pertinent. If it's expired more than 7 years, depending on the category, you shred it, get rid of it. And that's what we tend to do to try to maximize our space. However, that brings us to the future for the jail disappearing. Is it wiser to pay $3,000 a year or $6,000 a year if you start talking about the clerk's business and voting machines and whatnot, versus the county possibly investing in a metal building or a structure of some sort that can accommodate this?
Yeah, I agree.
My question would be, what the specifications are of the structure of the building to hold those records. Wouldn't there be certain specifications of what that building would have to be made of?
I'll check into that, Magistrate Coomer, but so far, everything that I see initially, and again, I've got to do a lot of research here. It's basically got to be dry, secure, lockable structure, not anything that's a poured concrete vault in the ground. Literally, you could do a metal barn with perimeter fencing and locked door securities, things of that nature.
Yeah, I could understand the perimeter fencing. I just think a metal building would be so easy to break into.
I would suggest maybe, since we've got records, jail's got records, we've got machines, records, that we utilize some of our county property. You know, we've got about 2 or 3 acres at the transportation department that we could probably put that up on, you know. And at $3,000 a year, we're gonna pay for it pretty quick instead of throwing your money away and rent. So, I challenge you as the chairman to maybe try to get that going. You know, we could hire someone local, keep it under the procurement process, and let them build it.
Yesterday's conversation also, ladies and gentlemen, Squire Botts, I know he had to leave, but I volunteered to do a little field work, ask some questions, get a material list, pending size, square footage, concrete pricing, things like that, just as an initial inquiry. And then once we get some ballpark figures, well, then we really get down to some bids and advertising for bids, if we so choose to move that direction.
But that project we just approved today is 90 days, it's done. So we've got to move pretty quick.
We got any block layers in the jail?
I don't know about that. That project will be done in 90 days.
But we do.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
Yes, if we build a building and get the new courthouse built, can we put those records in the new courthouse?
I have no idea, Squire.
I don't know about
because
that.
I was only talked to by the AOC about the security side of it and how the security personnel would move and law enforcement would move in there. So honestly, I have no idea how to answer it.
Second floor is full, just about, in this building.
This building?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, it's full. I've been there.
Yes, sir. We just wiped a few cobwebs off the ceiling in order to put it in the box up there.
If we knew we could put these records in the new courthouse, it might be cheaper to rent to get a new courthouse. Have you thought about that?
I have thought about that, Squire. However, just at mere guess, again, I have no inside information. You're probably looking at 4 years before it's complete.
That's roughly $12,000. So of course you'd have to have the state's approval to do that, to keep them in there. They'd have to approve that. So, yes, ma'am.
I just want to add, I wanted to add that in purchasing the new election equipment, I have talked with the sheriff also because one thing that was brought up when we did a demonstration to some of the magistrates that came for the new election equipment was the concern with the storage of the election equipment. And it has always been an issue, and it's been a concern that county clerks before me have discussed. We store it at the county barn, and I know they need that room. We need that equipment to be in a nice, well-controlled environment, and we could build in the new facility an area that would meet the needs of that equipment and the storage requirements that we have on election materials.
Look into that, see if this, do that.
We can look into it. I don't think that that's a possibility.
Beg your pardon.
I don't think that that's a possibility because it has nothing to do with COVID at all. I will look into it for you, but I'm almost positive it does not.
It's worth a try. Worth a try. Okay, any other questions? Okay, we will move, thank you all. We'll move on to jail committee, Chairman Sarton.
Jail committee met last week, I guess it was, and we discussed a couple items. The main thing is the mixer. Tell us about it, Aaron.
Thank you. We ordered a new mixer here a while back. For whatever reason, they're not making it anymore. I guess engine issues. At that time, we thought we're getting a good deal at $7,880. That's what we paid for that one. Since they're not making that anymore, we looked at the next cheaper ones, and we got 2 quotes. And the quote that we're going to go with, one quote was after shipping and putting on the correctional package for correctional facilities, it came to $11,221.97. And then the other one was $9,925. It'd be going from that initial fee of $2,045.
You said it take about 12 weeks to get it.
Yeah, it takes a little time.
Is that your recommendation from your committee to move on that?
I move that we allow the jailer to buy a new mixer.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second, Master Dickerson. Questions, discussion?
The difference in the money, will it come from the commissary or the difference in the two, or,
I get first, second.
but it is in, you had the money in the budget.
I know it's not as fancy as the sheriff's equipment, it's just a mixer.
There was,
It's not as fancy as the sheriff's equipment, but it's a mixer.
You don't have one you can hand around or we can look at?
I wish I had one here, because I'd be using it.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Okay, next.
Next on the agenda is the policy procedure manual, and I think you have it in your hand, don't you?
Yes, I got it all right here. From front to back, all 200 pages of it. We made a few corrections here and there on it, and I kind of keep tabs on it. We're going throughout the year, any type of changes that need made, I kind of start adjusting it as we go throughout the year. This is a yearly thing, is that correct, Sherry, that I bring it up here to be?
Yes, it has to be, whichever G, that's the mandatory.
I move that we adopt this new manual he has in his hand.
so,
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Parks and Recreation, we had met, I guess, Master Houchins, I don't think you were there when we had discussed, but I've got something just to show you. Master Riddle and Master Botts were present. And I'll just kind of show you what we talked about. So Tracy, if you could put that up, please. Obviously with the numbers that we're dealing with out there, we had talked about putting another small field in the left front corner next to Donnelly Drive. And of course, we're doing the best we can to play with what we've got. But the great problem that we have is the amount of kids. So I went to the county surveyor and he actually drawed this out to where you could actually have two small fields on the very front. And actually that's what we've got the majority of is T-ball players, so they can play on smaller fields. And ARPA money can be used to construct fields. Now, I want to challenge the court to make one of these fields a special needs court field, because we need that. We need it. So we've just about utilized every square foot on this property. Now, the next thing that's going to come to us is the football numbers are just astronomical now. I mean, we could actually use another football field, but we can't, we have no room to put it on this piece of property. So I know Master Riddle and Master Botts have had deep discussions about this, because I think those were two of the original guys that helped build the stuff at the park. So they've got the history on it. So we only talked about the one field on the top left corner, but the surveyor actually said, hey, why don't we cut that down and put two in? Because originally it's 200 feet. Well, the 200 feet was going to encroach on the road so much that we didn't want to get it close to the road. So that's just sort of a concept. That's nothing wrote in stone. Obviously, that would be things you guys would have to vote on to move forward with. I can only see these numbers growing come spring. And of course, obviously, when you add fields, we're probably going to have some more parking, because they're parking all over that right there, where those proposed fields are now. You know, some of the thoughts that Maxie and I have talked about is maybe making parking when you come down the driveway on the left-hand side. There's a little area between that road and the football field. We could get maybe another 100 cars in parking. But Court, we've got a great problem out there. Those kids, they want to come and play at our facility. We're drawing kids from about 5 other counties, which is a great thing as well. So just want to kind of bring you guys up to speed, where we're at, and we're gonna continue to work on this. But we do know ARPA money can be used for youth fields. But I really like to push for a special needs field.
The special needs field, if there's no need for it, can it be used regular, as a regular?
Yes, absolutely.
So they would have first choice, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, multi-purpose.
Is there any more land available?
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm sorry.
Is there any more land available?
You know, there's land everywhere. It's just a matter of having conversations. So, I'm kind of big on utilizing every square feet that we have.
I think you already have.
Well, we can squeeze one in there. But hey, we'll see where it goes. But we're gonna have to identify football because football is only growing larger numbers because the program is getting huge. And we have to accommodate those kids. Okay, we'll keep moving. Old business ordinance 661 related to budget amendment 1. Public hearing for comment. I'll close. We'll adopt on second reading. Entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion.
Second.
We have a second, Master Houchins. Questions? All in favor, signify by say aye. All opposed. Old business, ordinance 662 related to animal control, the rabies. Open that up in public hearing also.
Here, get one.
No, I've tried to call him 3 times. Close it, adopt on second reading.
Motion.
Have a motion.
Second.
We have a second, Master Sarton. Questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Okay, move to new business, approve payment of claims as presented.
Make that motion.
Master Coomer,
Second.
second, Master Houchins. Questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Approve transfer of funds.
Motion.
Master Dickerson,
Second.
second, Master Coomer. Questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Approve monthly budget adjustment.
So move.
Master Houchins,
Second.
second, Master Sarton. Questions? Hearing all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Approve monthly financial statement September 2021, subject to audit.
So move.
Master Houchins,
Second.
second, Master Coomer. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Approve official settlement September 2021, subject to audit, the county attorney, the county clerk, and the sheriff.
So move.
Master Coomer,
Second.
second, Master Sarton. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Personnel action, you should have a copy of those. Entertain a motion to approve. Master Dickerson.
Second.
Second, Master Houchins. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Quarterly financial statement ending September 30th, 2021, subject to audit.
So move.
Master Coomer,
Second.
second, Master Houchins. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Appointments, I'm going to skip over the county cemetery board. I'm going to go to the nuisance. I want to reappoint Frankie McCoy, Jeremy Poland, John Stevens. That's beginning November 1st, 2021, runs to November 1st, 2022.
Make motion to approve your appointment.
Master Dickerson,
Second.
second, Master Houchins. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. And Master Dickerson, you had requested this.
Yes. I would like all department heads, make a motion, all department heads start doing quarterly reporting. Doesn't have to be the way that the road department did it, but we just like to tell what y'all do. I think it's good.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second, Master Houchins. Any other questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sheriff has a question.
Oh, okay.
Just off the cuff, Carl, the next quarter will be, what do I?
Well, when did y'all give your, y'all just gave yours,
In the quarter.
I give them in the first quarter and
Whenever the
second
quarter
quarter
breaks.
projections.
would be July 1 to September. So it'd be the end of this.
December.
Yeah, okay.
We're not talking about a detail, we're just,
Well, number of runs, overtime hours, things like that. Yeah,
that's not a burden.
how your budget, well, you get something on your budget anyway, number of runs, number of hours, number of miles on the cars, just things like that.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
And you're welcome to go with however in depth you want to.
yeah, y'all got real
Yeah.
deep into it.
Yeah.
I need to know.
Is this gonna cost us overtime for the departments? It is, Helena?
Any other questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, motion to adjourn.
One more thing.
Yes.
I've kind of heard that everybody on this end of the table left. except for me. You moved the treasure down in front. And I do pay children every day.
Well,
I think I'm some beach.
you must have worried that he drank 3 bottled waters down there. Yeah, we have a motion to adjourn. So we have- consider
Judge?
yourself adjourned. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
At the
Got it.
2 and
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
are you not up the matters that you moved to the end of the agenda?
We didn't move anything. We just passed on it.
You just passed on it. I misunderstood. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.